Welcome back. Of course, the eastern United States clearing up after Superstorm Sandy. Matthew's here has been looking at the costs for us.
Yes, that's right. Well, the business community will be trying to get back to some kind of normality later on Wednesday. Both the New York Stock Exchange and the Nasdaq have said that they will reopen for trading on Wednesday. But meanwhile, people and businesses are assessing the costs of the cleanup.
With the storm weakened, residents on the East Coast are starting to come to terms with the damage left behind by Sandy.
How much just happened with even not a lot of wind, not a lot of rain is crazy.
I'm happy that it's just material possessions. My family safe, and my city will be back in action in a few days.
But recovery from the damages will take more than a few days. Public transport is severely disrupted. Many retailers will be out of business for some time during this busy shopping season. Restaurants, banks and insurance companies will also face heavy losses. The economic impact of the superstorm is huge because of the areas it hit. New York City alone accounts for 10% of US output.
In addition to the lives we lost, the damage we suffered across the city is clearly extensive, and it will not be repaired overnight.
Analysts estimate the damage from Sandy will total around $50 billion, $20 billion in property damage and $30 billion more in lost businesses. The fourth quarter US growth could be slowed down by 0.2 to 0.6%, bringing the GDP rate to less than 2%. But no huge impact is expected in the long run.
The first information that we get is going to be from lost output and airline cancellations, and that is going to be negative. And then more and more we're going to start seeing trickling into the economic data, the benefits of the reconstruction.
The losses may actually lead to a boost in some sectors, like construction jobs and car sales, in the coming months.
Amazing pictures, aren't they? Of course, the US market's been closed for 2 days. They are going to reopen, though, this Wednesday. What about the Asian markets? How are they faring?
Asian markets mostly trading up on this Wednesday morning. We can take a look at how things are going. The Nikkei doing quite well there. Some better than expected corporate earnings, but amongst those, not Panasonic. Their earnings released worse than expected. They'll lose $9.6 billion in the year to March. They'd earlier forecast it making a profit. Air France profits, we're just starting to get some European results. They've made profits of 506 million euros in the third quarter. That was better than expected for that airline.
Now, one factor that those markets are going to be looking at, of course, is Greece.
That's right. Now, Greece says it's concluded talks with its international lenders, the Troika, over 13.5 billion euros of savings, austerity cuts. Now, that means it can go ahead and seek parliamentary approval so that it can get this next bailout loan of 31.5 billion euros. Now, those measures will include plans to privatise big chunks of the public sector. Now, the coalition government, of course, is made up of three parties. Now, the smallest of them is holding out, saying that it's not happy with some of the moves on labour reforms, but there's still a good chance that the two major parties will have enough votes to get that through. Later on Wednesday morning, finance ministers from the Eurozone will be talking on a conference call about those Greek plans.
OK, now a big debate has erupted, I think is the right word, here in France, over the 35-hour week once again. You've been looking at how this works.
Yes, that's right. Now, this law has been in place since 2000, the 35-hour week. And on Tuesday, there was this storm, as you say, Stuart, because the Prime Minister seemed to give an indication that he was open to looking at changing that. Well, that was all then very quickly denied. Meanwhile, we've been taking a look at how the 35-hour week impacts ordinary French businesses. This report, Catherine Nicholson.
Sitting down is a speciality here, but not slacking. As per the 12-year-old French law, these furniture factory workers officially clock up a maximum of 35 hours a week. But in reality, they put in plenty more. It's not illegal to go over 35 hours. It just means the workers get more paid overtime.
Across a whole year, it adds up to about 1 month's extra pay, at least. We don't exactly have more time off, but we get more out of it because we can do more with it.
The boss here remembers the switch to a 35-hour week very well indeed. It meant reducing his staff's basic hours and paying overtime for the rest.
243,000 euros total basic pay jumped to 307,000. Our social security bill went from 91 to 116,000. So our operating profit dropped from 64 to 24,000 euros simply because of staff costs.
The law has gradually been relaxed, lessening the financial burden. Nowadays, everyone here works 39 hours a week, 4 of them on overtime. Any hours above the basic 35 are paid at 25% extra, up to a limit of 48. In reality, the French work only a little less than their closest European neighbours, 39.5 hours a week, compared with 40.7 in Germany. And surveys consistently show France has one of the world's highest productivity rates. It all comes at a price, though. The government lets companies off paying social security charges for some of the lowest paid workers, and that costs the state €22 billion each year.
Now, I've got some lovely wedding bells for you now. In Hollywood, in fact, involving lightsabers, though.
Yes, now this is a strange one. Mickey Mouse meets Darth Vader. This is because Disney, absolutely, Disney is paying $4 billion to buy Lucasfilm, the production company behind the Star Wars movies, and they will be releasing the 7th film in the series in 2015, and then there will be regular films after that as well. This is all part of Disney's strategy because they bought the animator Pixar in 2006 and then Marvel in 2009 and have developed various films on the back of that. Well, George Lucas is the big winner here. He's going to be making $2 billion from the deal and he'll become Disney's second largest shareholder. Let's take a listen to what he's got to say about the deal.
For me, it's my retirement plan, which is I've taken my company and bought stock in the best entertainment company in the world, and that will hold me for the rest of my life.
Man, lucky he is. You'll understand that if you're a Star Wars fan, I promise you. Now, you got results from the company that makes Apple products as well, haven't you?
Foxconn Technology, yes, they make a lot of the iPhones and iPads. They also work for other technology companies like Hewlett-Packard and Nintendo. They're in Taiwan. They said they made profits of $1.9 billion in the first 9 months of the year. That was up 24%. Huge company, this. They employ 1 million people around the world, a lot of those in China, and they've had a lot of labour problems in China. You might remember a series of problems. They admitted employing children as young as 14 on assembly lines, and they also had a problem with a series of suicides in 2010. Well, since then, they've been raising pay at their factories in China.
Okay, another Apple-related story. This involves the French retailer Fnac.
Yes, now Fnac has a presence on most high streets in France and in other markets as well, well known as an electronics, books and music retailer. Now, they have a big share of music sales, but they've struggled with their online offer. They launched an online music retail store in 2004, but it's still only managing to get about 4%. Well, they've decided to scrap that. They're now going to team up with Apple and iTunes and will sell directly through that. And what in return, Apple will give them a share of each sale that they make through the Fnac website.
OK, now, strange story for you. The words accounting error is usually bad news, but this one's actually quite good in Australia, isn't it? I wouldn't mind one like this.
I was thinking exactly. This is the kind of accounting you'd like to see on your own bank statement,
exactly,
isn't it?
Definitely.
But it still caused a lot of red faces there in New South Wales, as we can see here. Now, they managed to miss a $1 billion Australian dollars accounting error. Now, what it meant, now, as you say, Stuart, it actually moved in the right direction. They went from a deficit of $337 million in June to $680 million surplus just a few weeks later. But the State's Auditor General was not very happy about that. He said that those errors totally unacceptable. He wants better systems, better processes and better qualified people as well.
Well, if they get the sack, they can come and do mine if they like. I wouldn't mind. Matthew, thanks very much. Matthew with the business on Foz Fan Cat. Very latest news, of course. All the latest on the Superstorm Sandy after the break. Claire will be here.